Speed Channel welcomes you to Richmond International Raceway, where it's butt pull qualifying under overcast skies. And coming up next, the Punai 250 Busch race over on FX. And for that race, Kasey Kahne has won his 5th career Busch Series pole. He is driving a Ray Evernham Busch Series car. And Clint Bowyer will share the front row, his 2nd front row start this season. Once again, that's coming up next, 7:30 p.m. tonight over on FX. As it's nighttime racing through the month of May. The NASCAR Busch Series presented by Johnsonville Brats. But first, it's NASCAR Nextel Cup Series qualifying right here on Speed. Let's rewind the clock, not quite a full week, to Speedway Saturday night Mother's Day weekend. Saluting all the moms, one of whom, Patty Petty, got to wave the green flag. What happened here as defending Nextel Cup champ Kurt Busch spins out on lap 1? We know what happened here. Jeff Green and Michael Waltrip had a magnetic attraction for each other that continued all night long. Greg Biffle came up to take the lead from pole sitter Kasey Kahne's Go Man Go Dodge. Traded it back and forth with Jeff Gordon several times. But Biffle was the man on the mission, and all night long it seemed like he was the man to beat. Round 2, or was this round 3? And who did Jeff Green just narrowly miss there? Kurt Busch was the one lucky thing that happened to Kurt all night. Racing for 3rd late in the race, Mark Martin spins, setting this up. Kenny Schrader, the only other car besides leader Ryan Newman not to pit for tires. You saw the swan on the side of Schrader's car. He was a sitting duck, and so was Newman. Greg Biffle got past Ryan Newman in the green-white checker, run to the flag to score the win at Darlington. Jimmie Johnson, the point leader. Jeff Gordon 2nd. Greg Biffle climbing back up through. Kurt Busch dropping there to 4th as you look at the top 10, anchored by Ryan Newman. Coming in here to Richmond, Scott Wimmer is 35th in owner points. That means the drivers in yellow are among the 12 here that have to time trial their way into the field for Saturday night. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Richmond. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip. Larry, I guess the big action today was what happened in practice to Ryan Newman leading the headlines just like last week.
Well, he led the headlines in 2 ways. We have 47 cars here. Guess what? He was the fastest in practice, but this is an impound race. 2 hours of that practice was spent getting ready to qualify, getting ready to race. He ran almost 70 laps, but late in that practice session, he crashed down in turn 1 and 2. But just to show you how important a backup car is, Matt Bourne and that group, they unloaded the car, they got it through NASCAR inspection, back out on the racetrack. Guess what? He was still fast.
Darrell, this track is so unique. It's D-shaped like Michigan International Speedway, but that's 2 miles. This is only 3/4 mile. We don't have many D-shaped short tracks, and it's really a leap of faith to carry that car off into turn 1 here.
What really isn't, and what the guys like about this racetrack, Mike, is it's a race track. You know, you go to Bristol and you survive. And you go to Martinsville, and it's a lot of bump and run. But here, a lot of side-by-side racing, a lot of really good racing, things that the drivers enjoy doing. Run alongside each other, got a lot of room. It's an exciting track to have a race on.
And it's going to be fun to watch. Tonight, the Busch Series. Tomorrow night, the Cup Series. Let's join the executive editor of Speedway Illustrated, Dick Bergman.
And Mike, it's got to be fun to be Jimmie Johnson right now. He leads the points at this moment. He's got the best average finish of all drivers, tied for the most top 5s. He's got the most top 10s this year. He's led about 10% of the laps so far this year. What do you got for him here at Richmond?
We hope we can get the Los Monte Carlo running a little better. It wasn't the best car in practice, but you know, I know Chad and the guys worked real hard on it. Gonna take this first lap a little easy and then get after it on the second and try to get us a good starting spot. But it's a great position that I'm in. I'm driving great equipment every week. I've got guys that believe in me, and even if we get off to a slow start, we'll sort it out by the end of the race. So we'll be in good shape.
He believes in the guys too, Mike.
Well, he's got that crash test dummy helmet, but he's no dummy. Jimmie Johnson is our Nextel Cup point leader. Jeff Green among those coming out. Dale Jarrett getting set to qualify here in Richmond. NASCAR Bud Pole qualifying from Richmond is brought to you by John Deere Lawn Tractors. Make your yard a John Deere yard. Quaker State, the power to reduce friction. And Advance Auto Parts, for the best parts, people, and price. We're ready in advance. We're ready to start Bud Pole qualifying. Final preparations underway. Robbie Gordon will be the first guy on the clock. Dick Berggren.
With Bobby Labonte, and he's got a very fast race car here. He's had good success at Richmond, second and third the last couple of times out in the spring races here. I don't know how to bring this up to you, Bud, but it's Friday the 13th, and with the luck you've had, what have you done to try to make sure your luck's okay tonight in qualifying?
Well, I haven't done anything. I don't believe anything like that, so I left it alone. But yeah, I mean, our Beneva Chevrolet's done really good today, so hopefully we can get us a good qualifying effort in, and we'll have to sit for about 24, 26 hours and see what we got for tomorrow night. But so far it's been pretty good and pretty happy with it, and the guys have done a good job. And it's the, Phoenix, we had a good run at Phoenix, and the same tire we had there, and the same type of racetrack, so maybe we'll have a good run here tonight and tomorrow night.
All right, we wish you well. Thanks, Bobby.
No bad luck.
No bad luck.
No bad luck. Hey, new paint scheme, new sponsor.
I had Mike, I had one car owner tell me, I said, boy, you just don't have any luck. He said, we don't want any luck. So I just want to get by with no luck.
Let's take a look at the 12 drivers who are here racing for 8 spots in this field tonight. So you have to beat 4. Carl Long, Robbie Gordon, who goes out first. Johnny Sauter, Jason Leffler. Kirk Shelmerdine had his sponsorship up for auction on eBay. I'm not sure how he did. Bobby Hamilton Jr., Jeff Fuller, Kevin LePage, Hermie Sadler, Mike Garvey, Morgan Shepherd, and Tony Raines all have to make the field on time. 4 of them will be headed home.
And we've seen this all day long. And Darrell, I think what happens is those 12 guys right there, they know they have to step it up just a little bit to try to get in this show. And what we saw today in practice, if you step about a half a lane out of that bottom groove, you'll end up like Ryan Newman up there in the turn 1 and 2 wall.
Yeah, or Carl Long, who couldn't afford to lose a primary car, so he's got a lot of work ahead of him too.
Dale Jr.'s car being rolled out. Saw Jeff Burton there a second ago. His jackman Josh Yost injured but under repair. He did show up Monday night in a wheelchair at the National Pit Crew Championship powered by Tyson. Good to see him there.
It really was. You know, he's out for the season. He's had a couple of surgeries, but I talked to him for a little bit. He's in good spirits and look forward to being back on pit road in 2006.
And I was talking to Larry about this, and no disrespect to the young man that's jacking the car in his place, but I just wonder if that timing issue late in that race at Darlington, where the jack man's the key to letting the car go, when Jeff had that wheel loose, if there was just a little timing issue there and not having your regular guy on that jack could have made the difference.
So Robbie Gordon will be our first qualifier. We want to wish Josh a speedy and most importantly a successful recovery.
Very much.
Robbie has 4 did not qualify and 4 DNFs, did not finishes in 2005. He has finished 2 races in his and Jim Smith's team. But among these 12 drivers who have to qualify in time, he was the 3rd quickest in practice.
And he's missed the last 2 races at Talladega 2 weeks ago, at Darlington last week. Was pretty quick in practice at Darlington, and they had something that went wrong mechanically on his qualifying run. Now his first lap is 21:51.
But you know, Larry, just follow up a little bit on what you're talking about. Talk to Robbie. He said that he can trace back to 2 races, Darlington and Bristol, where he had a car plenty fast enough to make it in, but he blamed car preparation before qualifying for costing him a shot at getting in those 2 races.
He picks it up quite a bit on lap 2, which I think we will see that for most of these cars because this track is very temperamental and sensitive to heating the tires. So normally you'll run quicker, but he steps it up to 21:21, so that's 2/10 quicker than he ran in practice earlier.
Look at the angle of that front valence. These cars really look like they really roll over on the right side because in the middle of the corner that thing was flat and flush to the racetrack.
Yeah, I just think these old sloopy noses on these cars too are part of the issue about cars spinning out, even though the guy behind you doesn't touch you. You run that plow up under the guy in front of you, it's going to loosen you up, and then you take that small rear blade. I think that turns guys around unexpectedly.
Now sloopy, is that another word for DW's dictionary?
yeah. Maybe I should have said swoopy.
No, I like sloopy. That was good.
But you know,
it was a song by the McCoys back in the mid-60s.
Yeah, and you better hang on.
That's right.
Has nothing to do with co-opetition.
No, not yet. We'll get to that.
It's on a different page. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the Tide Chevrolet.
Another go or go home car. Fell out of the top 35 in owner points. First lap 21:37. He was 27th quickest in the practice today.
I would think Harold Holly and Bobby Jr. would be pretty darn good here. They had a lot of success here with the Busch car. I think that should help them a little.
Plus, they came up here and tested as well. And he picks it up, 21:19. He goes to the top of our 2 cars as qualified.
I think somewhere down, you know, I think a flat. Anything near a flat is going to be an excellent lap around this joint for qualifying.
Yeah, the track record was set a year ago, right after the track was repaved. Brian Vickers at a 20:77. We almost broke the Busch Series qualifying record earlier today when Casey Kane sat on the pole, came within about a 1/2 of it.
So it's a possibility.
It is a possibility.
Of course, last year here we had new surface, brand new surface, a lot of grip at that point. This track has aged a lot. You can see it by the color. In the groove, it's very dark where the cars have been running. Out of the groove, it's very white. It tells you that asphalt has had a lot of life sucked out of it.
Jimmie Johnson with 6 top 10 starts this season. Finished 7th at Darlington, where he led 55 laps.
Not that great in practice earlier today. Again, I think they focused totally on race practice. He was 40th quickest. First lap, 21:20. Our 3 cars that has went is a 21:19, 21:20, 21:21. You think she's going to be tight?
Well, Johnson ought to pick this up a tad based on, you know, if everybody is, in fact, going to run a little quicker.
So far, pretty solid on our tracker. At the bottom, you see 145 miles per hour off into the corner.
He picks up, but not as much as we might have thought, only 1/10 of a second. Nonetheless, it's the fastest time so far.
Yeah, race setup, air pressure, so many things that affect qualifying these days.
Jimmie Johnson first in the points and first on the board. Dale Jarrett in the UPS Ford is our next qualifier. He has started in the last 28 races here. He has finished 27 of them.
DJ.
You know, Mike, he's been 13th or worse in his last 6 races here. And he's only led 1 lap this year in competition.
21.23 seconds. On the second lap. So even though DJ picks up 3/10 with this tight field, all packed within 1300ths of a second so far, he is 4th of 4. This will be Mike Garvey. Rusty Wallace looks on.
Which I was watching Rusty there try his helmet on, and why would he be doing that? But remember, this is an impound race. So he's got to be careful that he has the right shield. He's got to have the right helmet, the earplugs, and everything.
Now, that's his son, Stephen Wallace, right there in the white golf shirt, up-and-coming star. Been doing pretty good on the Hooters Pro Cup Series. And speaking of the Hooters Pro Cup Series, man that won one of those races is out on the racetrack right now. You talked about him, Mike Garvey, in the 75 car. 3 attempts, including this race at Richmond. He's made both races.
I think he'll make this one pretty easily. He's just fast in practice.
First lap, 21:26.
I don't know about that little wobble.
Look at that tracker. First, keeps flirting first to second, but right, Darrell, that hurt him.
Yeah, that little wobble right there will hurt his lap speed for sure. He was on a pretty good lap, though, obviously.
He will be a go or go home car, and he slows down a little bit. I think all of that bobble over there off turn 2.
And the difference between first and 5th is only 16/100ths of a second. So it doesn't take much to get that tracker to move southward.
It's probably good news for Robbie Gordon.
Yeah,
he's already beaten. He beat Garvey, so now he's got to beat what, 3 more to get in.
You have to beat 4 total.
I think what Jimmy's trying to explain to those guys is what his car didn't do, and they're talking about, you know, what they made, changes they might want to make in the rules that they can work on, things they can do to the car, changes they might want to try to do.
Bobby Labonte in the Boniva number 18 Chevrolet.
And that was actually Danny Emmerich, his motor tuner, and he almost talked like he was talking about the car lunging or surging or something like that.
Yeah,
so that's
like
his engine tuner.
could have been surging. I notice there's a headwind, and again, we talk about this almost all the time, but if you notice there's a headwind down the back straightaway, that will make your car surge. It'll make the air pressure under the hood up and down, fluctuate, and that'll cause the engine to have a little surge to it. Particularly maybe when it's taped up solid and you're taking air in only under the valence there.
Bob Labonte with 1 pole here at Richmond, and he picks up 13 100ths, but he is now the slowest of 6. So strange qualifying session so far. Something new. Speed Channel presents the Speed Bookstore. Thousands of titles covering everything from racing to repair, motorcycles to muscle. If it's got a motor, somebody wrote a book about it, and it's probably available. Browse titles and buy online at speedtvbooks.com. Another new paint scheme. This is Aerometrics on Scott Riggs.
That stuff right here, I was reading about this, and this is the little air things you hang in your car, air freshener deals. They've been doing a study about different fragrances that you'd pump into a car. They found that the pine scent has a calming effect on the driver. And now they're trying to figure out how to pump pine scent into some of these drivers' cars.
Like we could think of 3 from last week in particular, couldn't we?
Exactly.
Well, I wonder what get up on the wheel scent smells like. Okay.
Burnt rubber.
Yeah, during commercial.
Yeah, burnt rubber maybe.
See Carl Edwards on the radio talking to someone. I thought he might be talking to Bob Osborne, his crew chief, but that's Bob actually standing right there with him right now.
Now, Larry, they got his radio fixed just right. You know, he's not talking. He's just listening.
Just listening.
He's listening to see what everybody's saying about the racetrack. Probably got a scanner.
I believe you're right.
And he's listening to see what the guys are saying about the racetrack.
Only 1 Ford has run so far. That's Dale Jarrett. Mike Wallace in the Lucas Oil Chevrolet, the Morgan McClure car. And he is in the show this week. He's in the top 35, so this is for position. What's that? Wide open on the side. New affiliation for that team.
I think he just likes misery. He gets in 1 week, knocks himself out the next. He's kind of been in and out about 3 or 4 times this year already.
Keeps flirting in the danger zone. His first lap is 21:37. See if he can pick it up a little bit. I believe he's going to pick it up to 2nd quickest for Mike. Good run for that team. But I just think they're, you know, when you're in the top 35, the pressure's off and you can focus a little more.
Coming up, Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton, Jeff Green, Rusty Wallace. Conover, North Carolina's Morgan Shepherd in the Racing with Jesus Dodge has 19 starts on this track since they reconfigured it to a 3/4 mile, and that includes 4 top 10 finishes.
Morgan was only 45th quickest in practice earlier today, 21:62. He picks up about 2.5, 3/10, but he stays 9th quickest out of the 9 cars. That puts Bobby Hamilton Jr. on the hot seat to bump into the show.
Morgan has a pole here, back on the half mile in his rookie season, 1981, for Cliff Stewart. Dick?
Well, with Mike Wallace, that was a terrific run. How much pressure does that take off you?
Well, you know, we're fortunate enough to be in the race 34th in points, but this team has stepped up all year long, and they just keep doing better things and giving me better race cars and really help us with the whole Lucas wide open performance strength car. And, you know, Morgan McClure, the team is back. They're really... Tony Stewart's going by making a lot of noise on us, but... you know, this has got a really good group of guys that I work with and work for, and just really, really happy with all the effort they're providing me and putting forth, and we're having fun. We're having a lot of fun together.
And just after that lap got done, I heard on the radio one of your crew members said, "Mike, I could kiss you. You better run."
We won't do that in front of you here.
Great run for Mike Wallace. He's 2nd to Jimmy Johnson. Not anymore. Tony Stewart's first lap, despite a wiggle going into turn 3, is fastest by almost 3/10.
And that was on his first lap. That puts within about 1/2 a tenth of that track record we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that was the get up to speed lap.
Yeah, and just think about Larry. I mean, every time they did, I remember they went to the 1 engine rule and said, well, that'll slow them down. They set new track records. Now you're qualifying on race setup. Well, that definitely will slow them down right back near the track record. And look at that thing. Talking about sloop down in the front end.
Sloop down and ready to go. He pretty much mirrors lap 1 or lap 2. So right now, 2084 be the time.
Whatever that smells like in that car, patent that because that's go fast. Jeff Fuller from Auburn, Massachusetts, now makes his home in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Well, you know, they make a candle that smells like burnt rubber.
Do people buy it?
They do.
Oh, gosh.
I know where you can get it.
I didn't even tell you where you get one.
I can guess.
But if you want one, you can get it at dwstore.com.
I would guess that, you know, something like Kevin Harvick's motor coach should be full of them because being the king of burnouts that he is. Or maybe not. All right, let's see what Fuller can do with Chris Edwards' car here. It looks like he's on the first lap, 11th of 11, 21:59. He's got to either go or he will bump Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the race.
And just remember, our graphic here drops down. The yellow needs to qualify on time. You see the little yellow icons coming by there. That means they have to qualify on time. The red ones mean not necessarily where they're going to start the race, but that they're locked into the show.
Old Peace didn't look too bad on that second lap.
Now picked up a 10th, 21:49. Have to wait and see if Jeff Fuller is going to make the race. He does bump Bobby Hamilton Jr. into the race. Jeff Gordon, now the number 2 point man in his drive for 5 championships.
He spent a lot of time on pit road today. Earlier, when practice started, they had a 30-minute penalty for being late going through inspection last week at Darlington, and the 30 minutes did not start until Jeff Gordon was on pit road, buckled in his car. He sat out there for 30 minutes waiting until his penalty was served. He was in the timeout box.
I bet that was comfortable on a muggy day like this. Jeff Burton in the Singular Wireless Chevy is our next qualifier. He has a pole and a win since this track was turned into a 3/4 mile. 7 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and 1 pole.
It'll be a pretty good run. He was 4th quickest earlier today. He's flirting with the front row with this lap here.
Crashed up here testing, Larry. Right at the end of testing, cut a right front down and crashed his primary car. This is not the car they really intended to bring.
But it's quick, Darrell. He's number 2 right now.
You can hear him get back to that gas. That's how you go fast here. Drive it in easy and get back in it quickly.
Second lap is a tick slower, but he and Tony Stewart are the only 2 drivers so far to have broken 21 seconds. So nice run for Jeff Burton. The fastest man in town after 12 cars is this one, Tony Stewart. Jeff Green, Rusty Wallace, Scott Wimmer, Mike Bliss coming up. Jeff Green up next in the Cheerios Dodge for the Petty organization. 1 top 5 and 1 top 10 on the Richmond 3/4 mile. Finished 3rd here in the Fall Race 2002.
He was 11th quickest in practice earlier today. This group came up here and tested. Looks like he's flirting with a top 5 run. Had a great qualifying run. And the Biaggi brothers number 4 Busch car earlier today qualified 3rd. And he's 3rd quickest right now in his 43 car at a 21:04 on lap 2.
Yeah, I heard him say that running that Busch car had actually helped this car dramatically. So, and it shows.
Another strong run for Jeff Green, presently 3rd. Dick?
When you come to Richmond, you better have a Tony Stewart t-shirt because you know he's going to run fast no matter what kind of vehicle he's in. He's got 5 trophies out of this place so far, 3 from Nextel Cup, a couple from the trucks on the pole so far. Wow. How about tomorrow night?
Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if that holds up. There's some really good cars that are still to go out, but I guess they found my glasses. I couldn't find my glasses.
How'd you make that lap without your glasses?
Well, they were in there, but I always slide them in a little slot in the seat cover, and the seat cover came unsnapped, and all of a sudden they became invisible. So I don't know. Maybe that was the secret to the lap. We'll lose them every week, but I don't know. Hopefully this will give us a top 5 spot, and you know, it'd be great if they could hold up for the pole. But there's some good guys behind us, and I'm sure they're going to run hard too. So the key is just getting a good pit spot and a good starting spot for tomorrow night, and we'll do what we do normally on a Saturday night: go out and race hard.
Looks like you got all that nailed down. We'll be looking for you tomorrow. Thanks.
Thanks, Dick. Tony Stewart fastest so far. He's so fast he's got to wear shades.
Yeah, and not only is he so fast, but Rusty, I mean, he just about threw that first lap away as he went down into turn 1. They got up out of the groove a little bit. We've seen that in practice, but this second lap is looking a lot better.
Lot better. This looks like Talladega, where the first lap is that scrub the tire, get them hot, get up to speed lap. As the second lap for Rusty knocks Jeff Burton off the front row. 2094. Rusty is 2nd fastest.
Oh, Russell, he pretty well owns this joint. He holds just about every record you can hold here as an active driver. And that one impressive one is laps led.
That's a lot of laps.
Rusty looking for his 4th pole on the 3/4 mile here. Sunday. Yes, there's a race Sunday, and it's right here on Speed. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Mansfield, Ohio. It's the UAW GM 250 live 2 p.m. Eastern and only on Speed.
You know, I was just thinking about those laps led, Darrell. This normally is a 400-lap race. That means he's led over 7.5 races of laps here. That's a lot of laps.
Now he's got 6 victories here too, Larry. That's the other thing. And not only does he lead a lot here, he's won a lot here. I think the King has led the most laps here, but he's run about twice as many races as anybody else.
And we're in a lot of those races 500 lappers.
Yeah.
I think wasn't Richmond the first track to reduce their race length from 500 to 400 laps in an effort to put on a better, more competitive show, get the fans home at a decent hour long before live TV. Had influence. Here's Scott Wimmer in the Bill Davis Caterpillar Dodge.
Pretty nice first lap if he could step it up here a tick, but looks like actually it was his 2nd lap.
Actually, the first track to reduce the race length was Michigan, but talking short tracks, that would be Richmond. Anyway, we'll be right back. Rusty Wallace climbs out after a lap that'll put him on the front row as we stand after 15 qualifiers. He is 2nd to Tony Stewart. Mike Bliss in the Gene Haas Chevrolet.
Now, Rusty's one of those kind of guys that you saw that crew member showing him that sheet. More likely that's got tire buildups on it. And Rusty's one of those kind of drivers. He wants to know everything he can about his race car. And that tells him a lot about the handling package, what the tire buildup looks like.
Probably wants to see also if that pressure buildup relates to what he felt in the race car.
Mike Bliss moves into the top 5 with his 2nd lap. Here's Dick.
Hey, Rusty, Darrell was bragging about your record here. Let's give you the numbers, okay? 42 starts, 6 wins. That's more than anybody else that's going to be in tomorrow night's race. 3 poles, 21 top 5s, more than anybody else in tomorrow's race. 29 top 10s. Here's the one that really got to Darrell. Led 3,024 laps, almost 4 times as many as the guy that's 2nd behind you. And now here you qualified fast as well. Which of those numbers puts the biggest smile on your face?
I think the one that put the biggest smile on Darrell's face, the laps led. I mean, when you can lead over 3,000 laps, that means you've been up front a whole lot. And this has been a real good track for me, and it's been a good track for him, too. And that one there probably turns me on the most. The 6 wins aren't too bad either.
Okay, see if you can add some more laps tomorrow night.
Rusty's 2nd quickest right now. Here's one of his Penske Racing South teammates, Travis Quaffle, in the Kodak Jasper Dodge.
Pretty quick in practice earlier today. 5th quickest. Looks like he's trying to back this up. He gets flirting with the top 5. Let's see if he can come back, stay in the throttle off turn 4.
I don't know, Larry. She juked on him a little bit.
5th quickest, 21.07.
You're right, Darrell. Not a big pickup.
No,
he started with a good lap.
He was really good until he got to turn 3, and right in the middle of 3 and 4, when he got back to the throttle, it kind of pushed loose on him.
The former Truck Series champ is 5th fastest behind Tony Stewart, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Burton, and Jeff Green.
Tony's off. He doesn't have anything to do until tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
I don't know that he's off. He's got 250 laps of bush
racing tonight. Yeah. That's right. You're right about that.
16 of our Nextel Cup drivers will be racing tonight.
If not, he'd be flying off to probably run an open wheel race somewhere.
So I guess dragging Schrader with him probably.
He's off to change uniforms is what he's off to.
That's
relax just a little bit.
Tonight it's the NASCAR Busch Series presented by Johnsonville Brats. It's coming up next over on FX. Kyle Petty, the brawny Georgia Pacific Dodge. His teammate Jeff Green is 4th fastest. Let's see what Kyle can do here.
Kyle was 34th quickest earlier today. First lap 21.35. That's 16th quickest.
Car looks like it's just a little too tight. It was tight up off of 2.
Kyle got his first career win here, 1986, in a race that, if I remember right, ended under caution, or ended. There was a caution and it rained and a bunch of people pitted, and you know what, he won. That's the important part of all that.
Yeah, we talked about that one earlier today.
I don't remember anything. I don't know about all that pitting and rain and stuff, but it was raining 2 before where I was.
All right, Kyle is 16th as Mark Martin wearing his Friday night clothes.
Could be in the Busch race tonight.
Gets ready to qualify. Hale Jr. and Greg Biffle.
Now, Greg Biffle will be in the Busch Series race tonight. Dale Earnhardt Jr. as normal will be sitting on top of the pit box of the car he owns, Martin Truex Jr. in the Busch Series.
And another double dipper is Carl Edwards.
Well, we'll see if listening on that scanner and what everybody else was doing, see if that pays off for Carl or not.
Carl was 21st quickest earlier today. First lap 21:02. Good lap.
Yeah, I think it did.
Get your scanner, everybody.
He made the right adjustments.
Or whoever he was talking to, get on the phone.
He had just a little bit of twitch off turn 2. Maybe he had to come out of the throttle just a little bit.
Let's see if he can round this up to the front row. Not quite, but he picks up a spot, third fastest at a 20.96, and that just misses the front row by 0.02 of a second. Coming up, Greg Biffle, Ricky Rudd, and Front Row Joe. Johnny Sauter will be the 20th driver to take time. He's on the go or go home plan, and so far it's a go. He's out-qualified 3 of those that he needs to beat in the Miccosukee Indian Gaming Dodge. 21:22.
That's first lap. If he can pick it up a little bit on this second lap. These guys missed the show at Darlington last week, but if they pick it up a little bit, they'll race tomorrow night. Johnny had a great qualifying run in the Busch car. He picks it up the 5th quickest. He's the fastest of the go or go home cars.
And
good
remember, this whole car was pretty good at Phoenix. He had a really good top 10 finish out there in this car. So, yeah, that's a good run for the 09.
Sauter will race here tomorrow night. Dick?
So will Travis Kvapil. He was fast in practice, 5th quick of everybody. He's dropped back down to 7th in the qualifying line. First ever Nextel Cup start here. A little bit of heebie-jeebies.
I don't know, maybe every week, but not just here at Richmond. This place is a lot of fun. It's one of the neatest tracks we go to. We get to race at night. Neat little racetrack. We can race side by side, but I don't know. We're not really happy with what our Kodak Dodge just ran right there. We picked up a little bit from practice, but everybody else is picking up quite a bit too. I really thought the car didn't drive very good at all. It was really loose on entry and really had a hard time with it. So hopefully that'll be okay tomorrow. I mean, these cars are quite a bit different, making them go for 2 laps versus 40 or 50 laps in a long run. So I think we'll be okay in race trim.
Okay, good luck in race trim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Nemechek in the U.S. Army Chevy.
Up. Whoa. Out of the groove. Got it. And you can see, if we could look back at turn 2 here, maybe at some point in time, you'll see all that rubber up there, and you'll see why he's trying to get that cleaned off his tires right now.
Because remember, it's an impound race. This is he'll have to start the race on these tires. And yeah, when he got up there and picked up all that rubber, he's trying to get them cleaned off before he gets to pit road.
Yeah, all the drivers have complained about more rubber out of the groove than they've ever seen before. Like the tires are just really balling up. You can see all that rubber right there, and that's what a lot of the drivers are complaining about, that it's really, really tough up out of the groove.
Now this is Nemechek's 2nd lap. He was 9th fastest on his 1st lap.
You can see he almost a groove too high.
And now he's picked up that rubber on those hot tires, and he gives up on the qualifying run, but he knows he needs to get all that stuff off his tires. He don't want to start the race with those things that way.
Right now he's 9th quickest by that first lap, 21:09.
Michael Waltrip, the Napa Chevy, the next qualifier. He'll be the 22nd driver on the clock.
Michael was 29th quickest. He'll be racing tonight in the Busch Series race. Just barely got in the show, though. He was about the last car to get in.
You know, this is not one of his favorite racetracks. He has 11 DNFs here. And you know how many top 10s he has here in all the races he's run? 1.
1 top 10. That's a lot of starts, actually.
Last year, and he had his first top 10.
First lap, 21:18. That's 9th quickest. This may not be his favorite track, but this is his favorite car as he goes to 21:08, 9th quickest. This is a car he ran so well with at Phoenix a couple of weeks ago and finished 2nd.
Yeah, he told me, he said, I hate to hear that top groove isn't all that great here.
Because that's where he was at Phoenix.
And everywhere else. Dick?
Carl Edwards is standing here, and Motor Racing Network just jumped in at the same time. So we're going to listen to what he has to say to radio and then ask him our own question.
It was fun. Yeah, that was the Roundup extended control paint scheme is what we have, and I think the car looks pretty neat, and I'm pretty pumped to be here at Richmond. I struggle here, you know, in practice. We just talked about it. It's like I can't get the thing going, and then my crew chief had to be the guy that just kept me calm. Bob Osborne did a good job today, and we're 5th in our Busch car, our charter car, and I'd really like to to be top 5 or top 10 in that Cup car too.
Now, I've listened to you on the radio after your qualifying run in Busch and also your qualifying run in Cup, and in both cases, you were just so exuberant about the crew. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Are you always that grateful to your crew?
When the car is that good, you have to be grateful to your crew. I mean, these guys work so hard back at the shop, and they come here every week, and they run, you know, work the same schedules as us drivers. And Martin is the one who, you know, really made me realize that, you know, you got to thank these crew guys. They're the ones who do this for us. And, I mean, heck, that lap is not that difficult to run when the car is that good. So I'm just really proud of them.
Indeed. Thanks, Carl.
Casey Mears in the Target Dodge up next. He was 9th fastest in practice. He's 13th on his first lap. And 13th means you only lack the pole by about 3/10. So lap 2 picks him up to 6th with a 21:01.
Good pickup.
So Casey Mears moves up to 6th. Tony Stewart fastest, and Matt Yoakum joins us.
Mike, last fall, Jeremy Mayfield used this race, a win, to bump yourself into the chase, led 151 laps. You got to be excited for coming back and trying to make it 2 straight.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, man, we got a great car, too. This is a different car that we hope is better. You know, it was better in Martinsville, and it's one of our in-house cars, and a great engine, and just excited about being back here. Got a lot of confidence going into it. The guys got a lot of confidence and been working hard, and looking forward to it.
Ray Evernham has been very excited about their in-house chassis program this year. They've seen a lot of positives and looking forward to later in the year when they run them more and more, Mike.
Thanks, Matt. Jeff Gordon, who climbed to number 2 in the Nextel Cup standings last week's finish.
You can just see the attitude of those race cars. That shot of Gordon going down into turn 3, the nose all sucked down, hitting the earth, and the tail stuck up in the back end like a duck, and ooh, that baby's loose.
That duck wagged its tail.
First lap was a pretty good lap, though, 21:05. That puts him 8th quickest, and you can see right there on the tracker, this is not going to be a very good lap, all because of what went on. Turn 2 seems to be the trouble turn for everyone.
It does.
Greg Biffle qualifying.
Just sideways on me right getting into 1.
That's a combination of so many things. You overdrive that corner, you get real aggressive, then you got to use a lot of brakes, stands up on the nose, tail end comes around.
Yeah, Greg Biffle spun out over there qualifying his Busch car, but didn't hit anything somehow.
Welcome back to Bud Full qualifying. Kevin LePage on the speedway in the number 37 Dodge. And he has to time his way in. And right now the car he would have to beat to be assured of being in the field is Mike Garvey at a 21:26.
That first lap won't do it, Mike. No. 21:72.
He'd have to pick up a bunch.
It looks like this second lap may be a little better. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough to get him in, which would be great news for Robbie Gordon. Kevin picks it up a little bit, 21:43, but Robbie Gordon will race tomorrow night.
Well, he told us he got it turned around. He said I had a few heads had to fly, but we're on the track and getting things turned around.
And you'll hear that tonight on Trackside here on Speed following the Busch race, which is on FX.
Along with Dave Blaney and probably one of the hottest drivers on the Busch Series right now, David Stremme.
And that's Aaron Crocker. That's a name you're going to hear a lot more of. She was a sprint car, mini sprint car star up in the Northeast, and now she's on a Ray Evernham development deal and doing quite well.
And I'm sure that Schrader's asked her not about here or anywhere. You ever run Peevely?
Would you like to run Peevely? It's a racetrack Schrader owns, right?
Yes.
Part owner, promoter?
Yeah.
So here's Greg Biffle, last week's winner in the National Guard Ford.
We've been trying to clean this up all day long. I've been trying to clean this up. I made note on the final pit stop at Darlington last week, based on some audio that was played from Matt Borland, Ryan Newman's crew chief, who I think now is putting a sales pitch on his driver. But we made note that Greg Biffle, Doug Richard changed only 2 right side tires. They indeed beat everyone off pit road, but changed 4 tires on that pit stop.
Pretty steamy little lap there. Puts him at 3rd place.
And Larry, we all share that one. I mean, there were only about 120 of us looking at the screen, and we didn't quite note it. So
I think we were overcome with why didn't Ryan Newman pit?
I absolutely think we were. So here is Greg Biffle, and look at the difference from last year. He is third in points right now. He was 23rd at this time a year ago.
And thinking about qualifying 10 races this year, he has 8 top 10 starts, and I'd say that third place run right there, he'll be flirting with 9 top 10 starts in 2005.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser Chevy looking for his first win of the season, but he's got 2 right here.
He's the defending champion of this race. Won here 1 year ago, and in practice earlier, he was 30th quickest.
Well, he'd like to turn the clock back a year.
He's got those screaming headers on there, Darrell. Thing sounds like an Indy car.
Yeah, they're called crossover headers. Dr. Gas came up with that combination some time ago. Helps put torque in the engine. And one of the things that they have been struggling with, DEI, is they were on the 10,000 RPM program. When they came up with the gear rule, it hurt their engines a lot. Now they're trying to pick the torque up back in the engine, and that's header combination is one way to do it.
He picks it up on that second lap to 14th quickest. Yeah, I don't know what's louder, the headers or the crowd screaming when he's out there running these 2 laps.
Yes.
Well, the reason I said he'd like to turn the clock back a year here, particularly, he had a first and a second here last year, so he likes this racetrack.
Since Bristol, they have really picked their program up and busted back up into the NASCAR top 10. Tonight on Speed, relive the excitement of one of the world's greatest classic car auctions, the Barrett-Jackson. Customs, classics, exotics, sports cars, and way too much money. It's Barrett-Jackson, the auctions, tonight at 9 Eastern on Speed.
And, you enjoy doing those, don't you?
Oh, that's so much fun. The cars are just so beautifully turned out. A lot of hits, very few misses, and people are just willing to bid unbelievably. You know, makes you wish, Darrell, you'd never sold all those cars. Me either.
Oh, I tell you what, I can't afford to go to one of those things. As much as I'd like to.
I'm going to tell you what, Jason Leffler in this 11 car, he can't afford to run another lap like lap 1, 21:57. That's the slowest of 28 cars, and this is a go or go home car.
Yeah, he looked, he was really sliding around on that first lap. He looks a lot better on this second.
He needs 0.3 of a second, and he didn't get it. 21:29 puts him 1 spot away. It bumps Mike Garvey into the field.
And we only have 1 more go or go home car to qualify, I think, and I think that's Kirk Shelmerdine. Well, we actually have some that was excused, so we'll have a few more.
Matt?
Elliott Sadler buckling in, pulling double duty, but on Thursday you announced a partnership of sorts between yourself, Governor Warner of Virginia, and this racetrack.
Yeah, Thursday we had a great announcement with the governor that we started a race to GED. We're trying to encourage everybody in the state of Virginia that does not have a high school diploma, that they need to go back, try to get their high school diploma, get their GED, and the opportunities it will give them and advantages they'll give them with jobs and things like that. So it's pretty neat to stand by Doug Fritz here at Richmond International and also Governor Warner from Virginia and be the official spokesperson for GED for 2005. So it's a great honor for me and my family, and just want everybody to know they need to really go back and get their diploma. It's a great opportunity.
And Ricky Rudd's on the racetrack, one of the fastest cars in practice, Mike.
Rudd at his home racetrack. He's from Chesapeake, Virginia, celebrates his birthday annually here. Now driving for the Wood Brothers and flirting with the front row. 3rd quickest on his first lap. Can he get it? Yes!
20.93. But Matt was right. He was fast during that entire 2-hour practice earlier today.
Front row Ricky alongside Tony Stewart for now for his 850th career start. Dick?
Greg Biffle, oh boy, what a roll this guy is on. 3 Cup wins. He's won in the Busch Series. Front page of today's USA Today. Is this the best time of your life?
Yeah, it is right now. I'll tell you what, just excited to have the 16 team like I have it around me and Doug, and have National Guard on the car and all the great sponsors, and they're just having fun. I'm racing. I'm doing what I love. I love driving these race cars. They're a lot of fun, and can't wait for the Busch race tonight, and can't wait to drive the 16 car tomorrow night. It seems like it's going to be a pretty good car. Probably top 10 qualifying spot, and that's what we needed to do here.
It's 4th right now, Mike.
And his Roush Racing teammate Matt Kenseth in the DeWalt Ford is on track.
He's 35th quickest in practice earlier today. First lap 21:17, 18th quickest. Just hard to imagine as solid as this team has been over the last few years. 10 races this year, no top 5s, and only 1 top 10 finish.
But he has 6 top 10 finishes here in his last 10 races. So he too likes Richmond.
This place could stop the bleeding.
15th for Matt Kenseth, 21:09. Isn't it funny how the Roush team is cyclical? From the end of the prior season to his championship season, it was all this man, Matt Kenseth. The next season, it's all Kurt Busch. This season, it's all Greg Biffle. Seems that Jack's got all these 5 pass books, but every time he goes to the luck bank, he's consistent one season to the next. Interesting. Matt's with one of his drivers, our defending champ.
Jimmy Finnick talking things over with Kurt Busch. Now, I know you have to be very proud of the guys behind you and the performance they turned in Monday night in the Pit Crew Championship.
That was awesome to see that, and then we didn't even get them practice Saturday night. After we wrecked on lap 1 with our Irwin Industrial Tools Ford, it was a tough day, but they bounced back. It was great to see that. And then they challenged that $500,000 record. Came real close. Real proud of the team. I mean, everybody's happy. It's a fresh, brand new week for us. Ready to rip.
You dropped a couple spots in the points. Frustrating week at Darlington.
It was tough. You know, we're going to go take our car for a spin this week, hoping for a good qualifying lap, not like the spin we had last week. A tough deal where I think I raced a bit too hard early on, and we had Rusty and Gordon right around us, and luckily I didn't take those guys with. We spun off, but what made it so frustrating is because our car ran great lap times after that. So just a big mistake on my part. It's early in the year, though. We have plenty of time to bounce back.
Finished 37th last week at Darlington, dropped to 4th in the championship standings.
Must have some of that pine scent in the car. Here's Jamie McMurray completing his run 9th fastest at a 21:02. We'll talk to the pride of Virginia, Ricky Rudd, next. NASCAR Bud Pole qualifying from Richmond is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the number 8 car. The 32nd driver to take time will be Jeremy Mayfield, and his first lap's a good one, 29.98, 8th fastest for the UAW Dodge dealers Dodge.
I believe he's got something for him. That car really looks good. It got off the turn 2 really strong. Sounds like he's back in the throttle early. Got good forward bite.
Almost identical time on lap 2, 20.995. So right now he'll be 8th quickest.
8th fastest for Jeremy. Here's Dick.
Well, tomorrow night, Ricky Rudd will make his 850th Cup start. My golly, it seems like just yesterday when you got started at all this. Fellow Virginian Elliott Sadler says he would rather win here at Richmond than any other place than to win the Daytona 500. Would it mean that much to you to win here tomorrow night?
I'll tell you, it's a pretty amazing racetrack, and I think it has something to do with the intensity of the racing here, and the fans just get into it really close. You can feel the fans, and you can sense them, and you can see them here. And for some reason, other racetracks, you're not that close to the fans. And we've won here, I guess not too long ago, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was. I was driving to Yates, and it was a big day. I tell you, we've won some races over the years, but Richmond is a big race to win, and growing up about 100 miles away from here would be awfully important.
And this grandstand does rock, Mike. Those of us on pit road can guarantee you that what Ricky Rudd just said is truth.
He's been in this circuit since 1975.
Here's a guy right here. Now, it's kind of interesting, his statistics at this track. His best finish here in 12 races is 12th. But this year, he scored the most points on the 2 other previous short track races.
It's going to be quite a pickup. He was 22nd quickest on lap 1. He goes to the front row, 2nd quickest, 20.92. That's about as good a pickup as we've seen from lap 1 to lap 2.
Yeah, nearly 3/10 of a second. So Elliott Sadler, this is also his home track, and he's trying to get that goose egg out of that middle row.
Well, I think he'll get that goose egg out of his qualifying because he's never qualified better than 14th here. So I think he's going to accomplish that tonight, looks like.
Well done. Sadler right now on the front row with Tony Stewart, and the track record, well, we're just within 0.07 of a second of the track record, but nobody's been able to break it. See what Mark Martin can do in the Viagra Ford of Jack Roush. He has 2 poles and a win here on the 3/4 mile.
Had a good solid run at Darlington last week. Finished 4th, sitting there 6th in the points. Mark was 8th quickest in practice earlier today. First lap 21st quickest at a 21:12.
Well, look how quick that tractor moves around. That's how tight the field is from about 4th to about 20th.
3/4 mile flat racetrack, though. The shortest straightaway on the backstretch, 145 miles per hour into turn 3. He picks it up to 9th quickest, though, on lap 2.
It's not totally flat. You got 14 degrees of banking in these turns, so it's not flat.
Totally.
Hermie Sadler, the Peak Fitness Ford, completes his run with a 21:42. This is also Hermie's home track, but he's going to have to beat a couple more to get in the show. He does bump Jason Leffler into the field, so Leffler will race tomorrow night. Right now, the foregoing homers are Morgan Shepherd, who is on the hot seat, then Sadler, Kevin LePage, and Jeff Fuller. Dave Blaney carrying the colors of Bass Pro Shops on his Richard Childress Chevrolet this week.
We were pretty hard on his crew chief earlier today, so Philippe, you're a good crew chief, buddy. Blaney loves you. I loved you. You do a good job, man.
Philippe Lopez, you worked with him a little bit over there when you drove the DEI Pennzoil car back in the late 90s.
It was scary. We thought a lot alike.
Yeah. Blaney picks up 2/10 on his second lap. 21:04. That'll be 14th quickest, and he is the 3rd fastest Chevrolet to qualify. Hermie Sadler climbing out after a run that may not be quick enough to get him into the race tomorrow night. We'll see.
He's got to wait a few cars and see what happens.
Morgan Shepherd on the hot seat, 1 spot away. And here is Dick with the younger of the Sadler brothers.
Well, Elliott Sadler was the 31st driver to time in tonight, but both he and his team were by far the most exuberant of all the teams that we have heard on the radio and seen. There's your crew chief hollering, you're doing war whoops, beating on the steering wheel. Why all the excitement? I mean, I know you've qualified second so far, but that was a lot of excitement.
It is. Lord knows I'm not the best qualifier in the world here at Richmond, and to come here and qualify this good is awesome, man. We hadn't even made a qualifying run in practice, and Todd told me hey, made some good changes, going to be all right, and that was so much fun to drive that car that fast. M&M's Ford. We knew it was going to be pretty good for tomorrow night long runs, but I've never qualified at all here. I mean, I'm the worst ever. So to come here and actually quit to qualify in the top 5 is a great, great accomplishment for all of us.
And tomorrow night you get 400 chances to put great laps together. So you bet. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, now, Dick, you got to tell him he's just been bumped off the front row. Casey Kane on the pole for the Busch race, on the pole for tomorrow night.
And it's a new
track record. You know, Tom Carnegie, the PA voice at Indy, who we just imitated, had a big article on him in USA Today, and it's about time. He's 80-something, but I love the way he is so concise, and people just love listening to him.
I do too. Those are some favorite times. Going to Indy, thinking back to this joint right here, yep. Ray Melton, some of the great voices, PA voices in the
Lewis
sport.
Compton and
Lewis Compton and Martinsville, all those years.
Yep, Sammy Bland, all those fellows. And it is a new track record. NASCAR 360 has its season premiere, and Casey Kane will be among those featured. You'll see it tonight on FX after the Busch Series race. Car even looks fast.
Yeah,
nice decal job. Little speed stripes and all that. How about it, Matt?
Mike, I even heard that Tom Carnegie has his own bobblehead, and when you push a button, it says, and he's on it.
Looks like Kurt's on it pretty good, too. Lost a little bit off turn 4, but nonetheless, pretty good run. He's up to 3rd quick.
And this just in, guys, Casey Kane actually missed the track record by 3 1/1000ths of a second.
What? Call statistics.
He ran a 7.75. The track record is a 7.72 by Brian Vickers a year ago.
Really? I thought it was a 75. I mean a 7.7.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. Sorry, Tom Carnegie.
I knew it was close, but it sure did give us a chance to say something nice about Tom Carnegie.
And it sounded good.
We just wanted to say that. All right, it's not a new track record, but it is.
Well, maybe we'll get another chance.
That's right.
The Rocket hadn't gone yet.
Well, now that's true.
Ryan Newman.
Kyle Busch, who has 1 pole in 16 appearances, and what's he got? Star Wars on the car there with Kellogg's. A lot of Star Wars.
This is episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith. I think it's out. It comes out next week or something.
I saw where people were paying like $500 and $2,000 for tickets to that thing.
Yeah.
For what? I mean, did you read that?
Yeah. I'll tell you in the break.
Kyle Busch's first lap, 21:12, 25th quickest. He picks it up to 8th quickest, 20:95.
Good lap for the rookie. He is the fastest rookie, and he's the second fastest Chevrolet, so I guess the force was with him. All right, Dick gets to interview almost the new track record holder.
Close.
Well, earlier tonight, Kasey Kahne won the pole for the Busch Series race. Right now, you're the fastest man in town in the Nextel Cup Series. 2 different crew chiefs, 2 different crews, 2 different kinds of cars. So this is all driver, right?
Well, they're both Dodges, so that's the same thing. And you know, my brother told me I had to go faster than I did in the Busch car, and we didn't make a qualifying run in practice, so we weren't sure where we could go. But I actually screwed 1 and 2 up that second lap. I got in way too hard and got up the track and got it turned good and got a good run off though. So. These guys do a good job. I'm just happy for Dodge, all the Dodge dealers out there, and you know, Stanley and Siemens. It's pretty cool to hopefully get another pole, but we'll see. There's still some good cars to go.
Let's see, you're starring in NASCAR 360 a little bit later tonight. What are folks going to see in that show?
I'm not sure which episode it is. I think it's me and some of my friends and family went out to Vail and went skiing, and so I think that might be in it. I'm not real sure though.
All right, very good. Congratulations. See, you're having a great night.
Another great run for Kasey Kahne. By the way, in case we didn't mention it, Kurt Busch in the Irwin Industrial Tools Sharpie Ford, 3rd fastest at 20:85. And here is Ken Schrader, the busiest man in show business, in the Schwann's Home Service number 49. He's going off racing somewhere this week at a NASCAR short track, and Jeremy Davidson emailed me the release, which I promptly read and don't have it with me, and I'm not
there's no question
get a lot of help, but you know he's racing somewhere.
Yeah, Sunday is not a Nextel Cup race day. He will be racing somewhere at a short track across America.
And it's not Peevely. We'll find it.
But he has really been struggling here today. 41st quickest in practice earlier today, 35th quickest with this qualifying run.
Last Saturday night at Darlington, of all the Dodge drivers that Brian Newman wanted to stay out and not take tires, Schrader was the one faithful soldier. Lined up behind Newman on that restart, and to watch them all go by.
That's 18.
Kevin Harvick in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, winner at Bristol. He'll be our 41st qualifier, 21:22 on his first lap. Big pickup all the way to 6th place with a 20:94.
I tell you, he did a lot of that in turn 3 and 4. He sailed her in there hard, and I think he knew he lost a little time in 1 and 2, but he made up for it in 3 and 4.
He sailed it in there, and it stuck somehow, some way. Yes, the same car he won that Bristol race with last month.
Harvey picks up 0.3 of a second between laps 1 and 2. And that brings out the man who, despite what I said, is still the track record holder.
No, I was in there. I was with you.
Brian Vickers in the GMAC Ditech.com Chevrolet out of Hendrick Motorsports.
It wobbled a little bit coming to get the green. That doesn't help you any on that first lap.
He struggled in practice earlier today. He was only 43rd quickest.
Yeah, he's wobbling there too. I mean, maybe it's not hooking up.
Same car he finished 5th with at Phoenix a couple of weeks ago. You can see right there on the tractor, at least this first lap is not going to be very good at all.
And see, those wobbles may look minor at home, but they're major when you're in that car.
Because those wobbles are happening at almost 145 miles an hour.
He's 7/10 off the pole with that first lap, which puts him last, 42 of 42. This lap will be better, but not a contender.
Much better. Real clean on this lap. I don't know if he lost his confidence or not, but he had a really good second lap.
He's having a tough time putting the throttle down until he gets well up on the straightaway. He picks it up to 28 quickest, 21:14.
And that may flip one position higher because he's in a tie with Mike Wallace, and points break that tie. So the track record holder, no threat for the pole today. That record set 1 year ago by Brian Vickers.
On brand new asphalt, had a ton of grip, and that's what makes Kasey Kahne's lap, I think, so phenomenal that this track has a year on it now.
But that said, I think they've adjusted the tire a little bit. This is the Phoenix tire, and they're going to run this tire at New Hampshire as well. So this tire's a little softer than what I think they may have had here last year.
So yet to go are Carl Long and Tony Raines, which will decide the go or go home list, plus Sterling Marlin, Ryan Newman.
And you talk about Ryan Newman, the 12 car right here. Remember, this is a backup car, but since it happened before qualifying, as long as that's the motor they intend on racing, I bet it is, they'll be able to start where they qualify.
NASCAR Butt Pole qualifying from Richmond is brought to you by new Mobil 1 Extended Performance, official motor oil of NASCAR. By John Deere Lawn Tractors, make your yard a John Deere yard. By WinFuel, the first multivitamin that's all about winning. And by Johnsonville Brats, welcome to heaven on a bun, welcome to Johnsonville. Tony Raines in the number 92 this week, timed in 29th. He will race tomorrow night at 21:16. Good qualifying run. In the Apex Electric, say no to drugs Ford, Kirk Shelmerdine. From Welcome, North Carolina, 22:29. That's a go home time for Kirk. And on track now, Sterling Marlin in the Coors Light Dodge, first lap of 21:36. And the big news of the day, Ken Schrader will race on Sunday, Nebraska Raceway Park. That's I-80 Speedway, Greenwood, Nebraska.
You know, Schrader's been running at the end of 30 races here.
Wow.
That's big, because this is basically a short track.
Yeah, 30 races.
Nice pickup for Sterling Marlin. Picked up 0.3 of a second to time in 21st at a 21:08.
Tight qualifying session. Casey Kane on the pole at a 20:77. I look back here, Kyle Petty's 40th at a 21:35. So right about a half a second, almost separating the entire field.
So the field is almost set. Kirk Shelmerdine bumped Morgan Shepherd into the field. So it's between Carl Long and Hermie Sadler, who is on the hot seat for the last go or go home spot. And on the track, in a backup car but fast, comes Ryan Newman. And because he's an open wheeler, and because he's from Indiana, and because it's, I think, Tom Carnegie day today in Indianapolis, he is on it.
Yeah, and he's also up out of the groove right there a little bit, too. They might have been on a little bit too hard. I don't think I'm going to get to say my line.
Was the fastest man in practice. He did make it out with this car and ran a couple of 3 practice sessions, a couple of short runs there. First lap,
not too good.
40th quickest, 21:35.
This is better, but still he lost a lot of time in the middle of 1 and 2 down there.
I'd say it's looking a whole lot better, DW. See right there on the tracker, he keeps flirting with the pole up there. Let's see if he can get off turn 4 with a backup car.
It's going to be close.
Second quickest from 40th to 2nd from lap 1 to lap 2, picked up over a half a second, 20.801.
And Darrell, he just misses
a new track record.
Well, it may not be a track record, but there's our butt pole sitter there. Don't run away with him. Casey Kane.
Now the 00 of Carl Long is on the 5-minute clock. That car is still trying to get through inspection. If he makes it out to the line, he'll get a chance to run and try to bump his way into the field. If he does not make it, it means that Hermie Sadler would race here tomorrow night.
And Carl Long, he crashed in practice, and this backup car, unlike Ryan Newman's, has not been out on the racetrack. They had to go through, when you go to a backup car, regardless of when it is, before you can practice, you have to get it through the NASCAR safety inspection before they'll let you hit on the racetrack.
When we come back, we'll see if Carl Long can beat the clock, the 5-minute clock, and if he can put that car into the field. Welcome back to Richmond. Carl Long pushing his car into position. They've got through inspection. We'll see if they beat the 5-minute clock and get a chance to run to break into the show. Here is our WinFuel fastest lap to this point. Casey Kane, 20.775, just 3 1/1000ths of a second off the track record. Looking for his 6th career pole. Dick?
Casey Kane, 6 times finished second. You got a great starting spot. One more car to go, but let's assume that you hang on to the pole. Tell me, how badly, can you put it in words, how badly do you want to win here tomorrow night?
Well, it'd be pretty awesome to win here. We need to get in that all-star race. We need to win a race for all of our partners and for Evernham Motorsports, and we're working hard. This is the best car I've ever had at Richmond for sure. It qualified great and raced just as good today in practice, so we're definitely better off than what we were last year at this time.
But you said that the lap wasn't the best it could possibly be. How fast will this car be tomorrow night?
Well, I don't know if it can, how much faster it could go, but you know, I just screwed up a little bit in 1 and 2, but I carried a lot of speed. I was just up the track a lot higher than I wanted to be. So I mean, Newman came pretty close for having a backup.
An amazing feat.
Yeah, it was.
Congratulations. Nice run tonight.
It would be the 6th career pole for Kasey Kahne and his 2nd straight this year. It is not yet official, but it will be just as soon as Carl Long of Roxborough, North Carolina, makes his qualifying lap and tries to make his first Richmond Cup start. The Buyer's Choice Auto Warranty Chevy.
And remember, this will be the first laps on the racetrack of this car. They did not get out, but it's amazing what Kasey Kahne right now is thinking about. This is the last shot for someone that has not won a race last year or this year to qualify for the Nextel All-Star race next Saturday night on FX under the lights at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Probably the biggest thing about getting in a car you haven't run a lap in is the brakes. And that thing is bad, loose, and around it goes. Gas it. Oh, man.
A valiant try by Carl Long, but he will take that car home along with Kevin LePage, Jeff Fuller, and Kirk Shelmerdine. He has just bumped Hermie Sadler into his home race. Sadler will run tomorrow night. Our Gillette front row, Kasey Kahne, Ryan Newman, and as last week, a brace of Dodges will bring them down to the green flag tomorrow night on FX in the Chevy American Revolution 400. Coming up next on FX, switch over for the NASCAR Busch Series presented by Johnsonville Bronze. A big pickup on the 2nd lap by Kasey Kahne and an even bigger one by Ryan Newman to jump up to the outside of the front row with a backup car.
Well, Kasey Kahne starting the weekend off right with 2 poles. He just needs to close the deal in those races.
We'll see you tomorrow night with the Cup race, and the Busch race is next on FX.